Hey Wargamers, today I want to talk about the Tau Tiger Shark Fighter Bomber and the Tau Tiger Shark AX-1-0 from Forge World. If you haven't seen, we just got a preview of what this new model is going to look like. They came out with a new version of the Tiger Shark just like they did for the Barracuda. It has more detail, it's sleeker, it's slimmer, it's an all-around just nicer looking model, and it has me more excited about a Tiger Shark just in general because of it. But we are going to talk about its rules in Imperial Armor Index Xenos. Before we do that though, I want to say thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming 8th edition battle reports, hobby videos, anything like that. So, alright, let's get to it. We'll start with the Fighter Bomber. It's the cheaper of the two options, but it's also not as good. So we'll kind of get it out of the way. Basically, the Fighter Bomber and the Tiger Shark have almost identical stat lines, except for the Bomber has a slightly improved, or excuse me, the AX-1-0 has a slightly improved leadership statistic. So, but essentially they're the same. Movement of 20 to 75 inches at full wounds. Weapon skill of 5 up, hitting on 2s for ballistic skill at full health, strength 8, toughness 8, 16 wounds, 3 attacks, 7 leadership for the Bomber, or 8 for the AX-1-0, and a 3 up save. So all in all, a very robust flyer, good toughness, nice amount of wounds, and hitting on 2s is a scarcity in the Tau Army list. So having that is actually really nice. It comes equipped with 2 ion cannons, 2 burst cannons, and 2 missile pods. And just from that, you should basically understand that this is more or less 2 Barracudas strapped together. It's a Barracuda sandwich. So it's priced appropriately for that as well. So a lot of the criticisms that I have of the Barracuda, by the way, if you haven't seen that video or the link to the new Tiger Shark model there in the description below. A lot of the criticisms I have of the Barracuda are also going to hold true for the Tiger Shark Fighter Bomber. Yeah, so 2 ion cannons, 2 burst cannons, 2 missile pods. It has the typical Flyer special rules: hard to hit, supersonic, crash and burn, airborne, all those things. And then it also has a Tiger Shark dispersion field, which is just a 5 up invulnerable save. So like I said, a pretty durable flyer and you know, a nice model, but overall offensively it really is not the most efficient option. You have the option to transport 14 drones in its transport bay. It can't transport infantry or crisis suits or anything like that, only drones. And that's actually a fairly nice option if you are bringing the Tiger Shark in conjunction with things like Yvara that need a lot of drone support, or do best when there's a lot of drone support, but you don't have a good option for deep striking or getting drones to those units. A Tiger Shark could actually do a fairly good job of taking a bunch of shield drones, dropping them off on the other side of the board where the Yvaras are, and having the drones there when the Yvara get there, or at least turn 2 they can get there, because basically you're not going to be able to move them up there and deploy them in the same turn. In the first turn, the shield drones are going to hit the ground at the beginning of turn 2, and so you'll have drone support from that point onward. But yeah, so they're able to help you out with that. But overall, having 14 drones for objective grabbing is okay, but I think I would rather have more offensive capability in this guy, especially if I'm not taking Yvara that need that support. And so they give you an option for that. You can actually switch out its transport bay for 2 Sky Spear missile racks, which are range 72, heavy D6, strength 6, -2 AP, and 2 damage each. That's a solid stat line. You're averaging 2D. You're doing 2d6 missile rounds each shooting phase, so on average 7 shots with this pretty good stat line. That's not bad, and I think that's the thing that actually makes this a little bit better than 2 Barracudas strapped together. It gives you a few more missile pod shots, and it's a consistent damage amount. It's always 2, which, I don't know how many times I roll a D3 and it's a 1, right? It's more than a third of the time, I swear. So having that consistent 2 damage is really nice, and it makes it more reliable. So I do like that component of it. But overall, it's still just not as efficient as taking hammerheads offensively. I think I would just rather take hammerheads that are able to hold objectives and put out more damage consistently. But if I were to take the fighter bomber, I would drop the transport bay, take the missile racks, take the ion cannons, because they're going to be doing more work for you than the other options. And yeah, you can take seeker missiles here as well, but importantly, there's no target lock on this guy. So even if you have full marker light support, you're going to be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. But if you don't have full marker light support, you're going to be hitting on 3s with seeker missiles, because they are heavy weapons. So keep that in mind. You're not going to get the most efficient seeker missile delivery system out of these guys, but it's not bad at all. So that is the fighter bomber. It's decent. It's not great. I would go with hammerheads instead. But the AX-1-0, man, I like this guy. The AX-1-0 is going to be your dedicated heavy vehicle Titan killer component of your army. Like I said, it has the same profile essentially, except for the weapons that it carries are a lot better. So it comes with 2 heavy rail cannons, 2 burst cannons, and 2 missile pods. And heavy rail cannons are, oh, they're good. They're money. Heavy rail cannons are strength 18, meaning that they're going to wound almost all vehicles on 2. So anything that's toughness 9 or lower is going to be wounded on a 2 with these guys. They're AP -5, dealing 2d6 damage each, and then they do the normal rail cannon thing where on a 6 or greater to wound, they do d3 mortal wounds in addition to any other damage. So that's a ton of offensive capability. It's got 2 of these guys, and then with FAQ it has a ability that allows it to move and fire macro weapons uninhibited. So in most cases you're going to be moving this guy, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, and then if it's a Titanic unit, according to the Warhammer community post, it does double damage. So if you're firing at a Titanic unit that doesn't have an invulnerable save, in most cases you're going to be doing about 28 wounds in a single volley just from the heavy rail cannons, which is insane. That's a ton of damage. So that's really a selling point for this guy. It is pointed appropriately. It's almost 600 points for a AX-1-0 that has heavy rail cannons and all the accompanying weapons, but it's just a ton of damage, and it actually makes it the most points efficient option for Tau Fliers and really against hammerheads too. I think this is a tremendous asset to the Tau army list. It's really awesome. The special rules, I already mentioned that it got FAQ to be able to move and fire its macro weapon. In the past, or before that FAQ, you actually couldn't use the gun. It was one of these rushed Forge World indices that just had a bunch of errors in it, and so I'm glad that they FAQ'd it to make that different. But yeah, so you can move and fire these 2 heavy rail cannons. You still suffer movement penalties for shooting heavy weapons, but the only heavy weapon that it has are seeker missiles, and you can take up to 6 of those. I think it's worth it. If you have full marker light support, you won't care, but otherwise, you are going to be hitting on 3s. That's fine. 3s is still a fine vehicle or platform for seeker missiles. Let's see. It has a dispersion field, giving it a 5-up invulnerable save, just like the other version, and just like the Barracuda. Invulnerable save is nice, plus all the other normal flyer special rules. So a pretty durable platform and some really awesome offensive capabilities. So I think it's actually a really nice asset. Like I said, it's more efficient than hammerheads. It's an excellent anti-armor unit. It's by far the best flyer for Tau. It's better than Sun Sharks or Razor Sharks. It's better than Barracuda. It's better than the Manta, certainly. If you compare the Manta to this guy, even if you're playing a 3,000 point game, I would rather have an equivalent points worth of AX-1-0s to a single Manta. Manta you really just bring just for the transport capacity and because it's a cool big bottle. This guy is far better in terms of offensive capability. So there's that. And I think it can actually be an effective part of a competitive ITC style list or a competitive tournament list, especially if you are looking for a flyer or something. So I think it's going to be a good component of the list, maybe like this guy and then a couple of Yvaras and then some Fire Warriors. You're kind of covering all the bases. This is, like I said, a great anti-armor unit. Your Yvaras are also a good anti-armor unit, but can also deal with heavy infantry. This guy has a bit of harder time with that. So your Yvaras can deal with the heavy infantry. And then if you are facing a horde army, all your Fire Warriors can do a bunch of work with that. So, and the Yvaras can too, of course. So I think that would actually be a really cool list. A really aggressive forward-facing army, not a defensive list. Fire Warriors, Yvaras, and a Tiger Shark AX-1-0 would be really nice. So if you're going to bring this guy, you don't have to have a ton of support or anything. You just have to be aware that it's not going to be able to deal with mass infantry. But other than that, it's fairly durable. You're going to want to take out things that are, dedicated anti-air because they're going to have an easier time hitting this, but its invulnerable save does make it fairly resilient, and it has 16 wounds, which is not a small amount, and makes it have some longevity. So that's nice. Overall, I think the Tiger Shark is a good component of the Tau army list, and would love to hear your guys' experience with it, especially after the new model comes out. It sounds like there might be some tweaks to the rules, but that was somewhat ambiguous based on the wording in the community post. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and of course, happy wargaming.